Knoxville is getting ready for Christmas, but first they'd like a Vols win over the Aggies as Tyler Smith and Tennessee seek win number 9 heading into the holiday. Welcome into Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville, Tennessee, where tonight the 14th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers seek to bounce back from their worst loss of the season as they host the North Carolina A&T Aggies. And good evening and Merry Christmas. I'm Matt Stewart, joined by Barry Booker. And Barry, this Volunteers team off to an 8-2 start, but coming off a 77-55 loss at Southern Cal on Saturday night, coupled with their win over Wyoming last week. They're a combined 6 for 42 in their last 2 games behind the three-point line. And folks are wondering, what's wrong with the Vols?
Well, 16% from three-point range in those 2 combined games. That's not going to get it done. But they don't have a knockdown three-point shooter. There's no Chris Lofton in this Tennessee lineup, and it will be a problem unless someone steps into that role this year for the Vols.
Our Star Watch tonight features the 2 playmakers for these 2 teams. For the Aggies, it's Tavares Alston. His head coach, Jerry Eves, calls him a one-man fast break. And for the Vols, it's Tyler Smith, whose assist-to-turnover ratio is number 2 in the country, but he's having trouble scoring the ball.
Yeah, Tyler Smith scoring down over 6 points per game, and it's the same cast of characters for these Tennessee Vols. The same starters, no real change there. So it's not understandable why Tyler Smith is not playing with that intensity that he has throughout his career at Tennessee. For North Carolina A&T, Tavares Alston, a really quick point guard, the best. Alston, a really quick point guard, the best in his league, the MEAC. It'll be fun to watch him go at it tonight.
And while Tyler Smith is having trouble scoring, Scotty Hobson is not. In fact, he's scoring 5 points per game more than he did in his freshman season. It's the Tennessee Vols and North Carolina A&T coming back with the starting lineups and the opening tip in just a moment. Bobby Mays, who had missed practice yesterday because he was sick. So Goings getting the start, the first here this season with the Volunteers.
Yeah, Matt, both teams like the press. This should be a really interesting matchup with the style of play very similar for both squads.
Jerry Eves, the head coach of the Aggies, and Barry, tell us about the keys to the game for North Carolina A&T.
For North Carolina A&T, they have pretty good size, but
The head coach of the Tennessee Volunteers and the keys for the Vols.
well, Tennessee is very good in transition. They have to get into transition offensively a lot, score in those situations, and really play well in those open court situations, and also score in the paint. Get that ball into the paint, try to score around the basket, and do as much damage as they can to North Carolina A&T defensively in that area.
Doug Sermons, Mike Eads, and Brian Shea, your officials working this pre-holiday showdown. Aggies and the Volunteers. Tennessee in their home white, and the Aggies in their road blues. And North Carolina A&T starts on offense, and that's the aforementioned Tavares Alston on the dribble.
Carolina A&T plays very fast. They like to score, like to take a shot within 18 seconds of getting possession.
Goings got the steal, and Tatum off front iron, and the rebound is controlled by Robert Johnson. Yeah, they set their shot clock at 18 seconds when they practice. They like to score within 18 seconds. Rip and run is what Jerry Eves likes to call it. He says not many mid-majors, not many majors want to get in there and run with him. Tatum to the hole in the basket.
Beautiful job by Cameron Tatum avoiding Robert Johnson for A&T and able to get the lay-in. Cameron Tatum.
Tavares Alston, senior out of Greensboro, North Carolina, feeds inside to Thomas Coleman, then outside, and the jumper by Nick Simpson off the mark. Ahead it comes to the Volunteers, and shot was blocked. Hobson's shot blocked, and Alston dribbles it off the back foot of Tatum. Hustle by the Volunteers gets them the ball back. Tatum. The ball still struggling from behind the three-point line. Thomas Coleman picked it up and gave it to Alston.
Saw the shot block from Thomas Coleman, the school's all-time leader in that category a few minutes ago.
Yeah, that was career block number 168. And another turnover by the Aggies. They have yet to get a shot off. They've committed 4 turnovers.
That makes for a long night. Tennessee very good defensively. Their pressure defense giving North Carolina A&T a lot of trouble so far.
Upchurch was called for that foul on the Aggies. They bounce it inside to Chisholm. Chisholm kicks out. And Hobson off the back iron. The Volunteers continue to really struggle behind that three-point line.
They're getting good shots. A lot of three-point attempts on their inside-out action, which is the most high percentage three-point shot attempts you can get. Tennessee just not able to knock them home.
Tatum passes up the three this time, slashes to the basket. Missed the layup and knocked it out of bounds. And Wayne Chisholm immediately heads to the end of the bench. He has been bothered by a bruised pelvis and actually did not participate in much of their warm-up drills before the start of this ball game, the stretching. And it looks like that might be bothering him again. I think he's trying to stretch it out over there and work through some things. But we might not see a lot of him tonight. Coleman, kick out. Simpson, and the tip attempt by Coleman. Rebound is knocked out of bounds by Goins. It will be the Aggies' ball underneath and a fresh 35 to work with. And that's what Jerry Eaves was preaching to his team in their shoot-around today. Get that ball with the toes on the line and be ready to shoot. Another steal by the Volunteers and a reach-in foul on Nick Simpson.
For Dwayne Joshua.
Yeah, in just 29 minutes, so he gets it in there in a hurry.
Some guys just a little more comfortable coming in off the bench.
Williams fumbles the ball out of bounds. Number 2 in the SEC and fewest turnovers, 12.3 a game. North Carolina A&T has missed 3 shots and committed 5 turnovers, and Goins with the steal and got fouled, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, make it 6 turnovers on that out-of-bounds situation. Tennessee applying the pressure, forcing another turnover. The ball's so good on these out-of-bounds situations. You got 5 defenders to guard 4 players inbounds trying to get open. Bruce Pearl likes that mathematical situation. 5 on 4 he can handle.
Shooting 67.5% from the line, number 6 in the SEC.
Melvin Goins getting the start tonight in place of Bobby Mays, and Goins has been very aggressive offensively. He's doing a good job running the show so far for the Vols tonight.
And no kind of disciplinary action whatsoever with Mays. He was just sick and missed practice yesterday, and Bruce Pearl said it's my policy, you miss practice, you don't start the next ball game. And he talked to Bobby Mays about it, made sure he was clear on what was going on here. And, you know, Mays said he understood, but he wasn't happy about it. We saw him in shoot-around. He wasn't happy about it, but he understood, and that's the good thing. Goins kick out in the corner. Hobson. Tyler Smith, the backside rebound, and the put-in.
The Vols continue to get very good shooting opportunities from beyond the three-point line. 0 for 4 so far tonight.
Well, this is a North Carolina A&T team, 4:22 at the half. Came back and cut it 10 in the second half, and they're in trouble here in the backcourt. All kinds of trouble here with the Volunteers press so far in this ball game. But they have not played at home since before Thanksgiving. This is their 7th year.
A school like North Carolina A&T, you don't have football to generate revenue. You send that basketball team on the road to some of these power schools.
Tyler Smith nearly came up with a steal. Their schedule has been very odd. They played their first 8 games in the first 15 days of the season, and they played only 3 games in the last 25 days. Another steal for the Volunteers, 5 of them already. Tyler Smith beats the defense, gets the layup.
Great pass by J.P. Prince. Put that one high where Tyler Smith could go get it and lay it in.
And another turnover as Alston throws it out of bounds. And we reach our first timeout, 4 minutes and 7 seconds into this ball game. And the Aggies have yet to score with the Vols out to an 8-0 lead behind Tyler Smith's layup.
Where North Carolina A&T is, to understand how they handle pressure defense. They're getting a taste of it tonight, and so far, not so good.
Bobby Mays has checked into the ball game for Goins, who made the start. Yeah, it really is 2 different worlds. The pass was deflected by Coleman. That's the 2nd turnover for the Volunteers. 2 different worlds. The Volunteers, they approach the season, we're going to build a resume. If we don't win the championship, we build a resume to get an at-large bid into the NCAA tournament. North Carolina A&T, their whole season comes down to 4 days in the MEAC tournament. Regardless, they could.
You know, that's why those conference tournaments are so exciting. You win and you go on to the NCAAs.
Prince to a slashing Tyler Smith, and it's a 10-0 lead. 6 points for Tyler Smith. And another steal. Tyler Smith no-look pass, and Hobson was a little bit behind him.
Yep, didn't need to go that far with the no-look pass. A little too fancy. Scotty Hobson not able to handle it.
That's Dwayne Joshua in trouble with Tyler Smith right there. Robert Johnson trapped on the baseline. Well, they wanted pressure defense. They got it. Sometimes be careful what you wish for, I suppose. And another turnover by the Aggies. 10 turnovers in the first 5-11 of this ball game.
Let's see if I'm doing my math right. 10 turnovers in 5 minutes. We got 7 more 5-minute segments to go. They're on their way to 50. 6 steals also for the Vols.
I was just going to make it easy and say we're headed towards infinity.
50 is almost infinity when we're talking turnovers.
Oh, and he got knocked down on the 3. Skylar McBee, who had been in a bit of a slump, having missed his last 6 3-pointers, got knocked down on that one. He'll get a chance at a 4-point play as Alston picks up his second foul.
Skylar McBee, an excellent shooter. You can see it with his technique, a beautiful stroke, but he's only 9 for 27, 33% from three-point range on the season. And as a freshman, it takes some time to adjust to what you see, to where the shots come from. Such a different game from the high school game. Skylar McBee starting to adjust. He is a guy who can step into that role of being a knockdown shooter that would help this Tennessee team so much.
Another steal. And a jam by Prince. Floodgates are open, folks. 16-0. And Joshua stepped out of bounds. Another turnover. 12 of them in the opening 5 minutes and 35 seconds.
The Vols really getting after it in their pressure defense. Beautiful pass from Bobby Mays to J.P. Prince for the slam after Skylar McBee hits the three-point shot, follows it up with a foul shot for the 4-point play, and then gets the steal.
And you know, Bruce Pearl had been concerned about the energy and intensity with which his Volunteers would approach this game. You see McBee gets the steal, and then the alley-oop to Prince to finish it off. And I'd say his team has responded in correct fashion following that loss to the Trojans on Saturday. As you see the forced turnovers the last 5 games, 20 forced turnovers against Southern Cal, 29 against Wyoming, and that's a big reason why the Volunteers are #1 in the SEC, averaging 19.6 forced turnovers per ball game, and at +7.3, they're #1 in turnover margin.
Yeah, the Vols just do a great job out of their pressure defense. And I was here for the North Carolina-Asheville game.
I'm sorry?
Yes, the 75-point drubbing that Tennessee laid on UNC Asheville. 29 turnovers that the Vols forced in that one as well.
McBee launches another 3 and hits another 3. Well, that's as many threes as the Volunteers hit in 40 minutes against the Trojans on Saturday. And a blocking foul called on Chisholm.
And the confidence rising rapidly for Skylar McBee. If he can continue to knock down those open three-point shots, his minutes will rise very rapidly for this Tennessee club. They've been looking for something.
But the Volunteers just need someone to start hitting their three-point shots. Bruce Pearl said, I was asked, while we were going through that shooting debacle against Southern Cal, why didn't you post up and try to score inside? He said, well, the problem is, they packed everybody in the paint. Until we hit outside shots, the inside isn't going to open up for us to do those kind of things.
People think in football terms in the South, and the three-point shooting game is a lot like a passing game, the post-up game a lot like a running game. And if you're not getting anything going in your passing game, they can just pack it in, shut you down around the basket.
Chisholm missed the shot. A little bit off balance as he took it. And Chisholm looks like he's just not moving quite near full speed here. And Alston had his shot blocked. Long baseball pass by Chisholm, and Prince missed it. Didn't finish the dunk. McBee got the steal. Back to Prince. He gets another chance. A reverse layup and a foul.
Great pass from Wayne Chisholm. Three-quarter length of the court. Bounce pass to get it to J.P. Prince. And Prince blows it. And yet another turnover for North Carolina A&T. Skylar McBee giving it to Prince for the easy bucket. Tennessee 21-zip. Ball's just rolling.
Prince completes the three-point play. They're even getting the bounces. 22-0. But Prince now has 5 points.
Well, you get a nice, comfortable lead. You just relax so much more. You get the bounces. Everything goes so much more easily when you get this nice cushion early.
And Alston finally gets the Aggies on the board. Took them nearly 7 minutes to get their first bucket. McBee, man in his face. 3 3-pointers for Skylar McBee.
10 points now for Skylar McBee. He is rolling beyond the three-point line. That was a tough shot. The confidence soaring for McBee.
And McBee with 10 points leads all scorers.
That's what Bruce Pearl is looking for, somebody to stretch the defense.
Prince the steal behind the back to Woolridge, and Woolridge got fouled hard on the play. 10th steal in the ball game for the Volunteers. Foul was called on Austin Witter. Don't miss Sports Night weeknights at 6 and 11 Eastern. They have to do that, as you mentioned, Barry. He thinks when they get in the MEAC, they've been picked 6th in the MEAC, but he thinks they get in the MEAC, they got a chance to do some damage.
Yeah, this team has a lot of solid weapons. They have size, a good three-point shooting team, and a lot of guys who can shoot it from three-point range. So this is a pretty solid ball club. It'll be interesting to see if they can move up the rankings in the MEAC this year. That's all.
Long three-pointer off the front iron. That was Mark Hill.
Little guy.
He's 5'8".
Maybe.
Yeah, he doesn't look 5'8". He looks more like 5'6", doesn't he?
Yeah.
And the rebound is controlled by Coleman. Mark Hill slings it out here. Alston playing off the ball now. Moves over to the 2-guard with Hill in the ball game and hits the 3. He's got a couple of 3s. He's got all their points, and they're down 21.
Alston and Hill in the game. A lot of quickness out there now for A&T.
Woolridge hits the 3-pointer.
And McBee hits a few 3s, and now the entire team gains confidence from beyond the three-point line.
Just the 4th 3-pointer of the season for Woolridge. Hill pulls up at the foul line. Rebound is battled for and tied up. McBee and Porter, and the possession arrow is pointing the Aggies' way. 11:19 to play here in the first half, and the Volunteers defense leading to scores, and it's 30-6. 30-6 lead, and three-point shooting has been the story for the Volunteers. Not bad three-point shooting, but good three-point shooting.
They missed their first 4 threes of the game, but Skylar McBee got rolling, then Ronaldo Woodrick got in the act. McBee with 3 3-pointers so far in the first half. 10 points for him off the bench. Tennessee 4 for 8 from three-point range. North Carolina A&T only 2 for 8 from three-point range. A big key for North Carolina A&T. They love to force the opponent to shoot threes, make more of them themselves. That plan isn't working out so well so far.
Inbounds comes to Porter, and they give it up to Coleman. Aggies with 14 turnovers already in this ball game. Hill tried to get it over to Coleman, and it's intercepted again. That is the 11th steal for the Volunteers in the first half. That is unheard of. Goins back in the ball game for Mays. Trapped over in the corner is Kenny Hall. He gets rid of it.
Tennessee averages a shade under 9 steals per game, so 11 already.
Layup by Scotty Hobson.
Hobson going to the left hand. He is very effective, slashing to the basket, finishing around the hole.
26-point lead for the Volunteers. Robert Johnson hits the 3 with a man in his face.
He has taken nearly 70 three-point shots already on the season. Very comfortable out there, shooting 35%, able to drill that.
Well, the Aggies are number 10 in the nation, making over 9 three-pointers per game, and Jerry Eve says they'd like to take more.
They'd like to. Teams are sticking with the other Volunteers when Tyler Smith gets in the paint. He has very good opportunities to score when he gets down in there.
Goins is called for the foul. That'll be his first. SEC basketball, North Carolina A&T, number 14 Tennessee at the Thompson Bowling Arena in Knoxville. Matt Stewart and Barry Booker, and Merry Christmas to you. Looks like the Volunteers are going to gift wrap a gift to themselves here with a big victory tonight. Porter to the hole. Rebound controlled by Porter. Got his own miss, and a foul is going to be called on the Volley. Of the 4 seasons that Bruce Pearl has been here in Knoxville, currently, however, number 3 in the conference in that category. But they could take a big leap up the charts with their performance here in this ball game. Johnson off the mark on his 3-point attempt. Goins pushes. They kick out to Tatum, and Tatum way off the mark on that one. That stops a little bit of a run for them behind that arc.
Tatum, 48% three-point shooter. He missed that one very big.
He had been their number 1 3-point shooter by percentage. You can just see how the defense by the Volunteers is really causing problems for the Aggies, even in the half-court game, not just the full-court pressure.
They are frustrated. They're used to being able to come down, run their sets, get up a quick shot. But Tennessee forcing them to work the shot clock down, under 5 here.
Inside they go, and it did. They ran it all the way down to 4, and that's not by design. Tennessee just did not give them an open look. You know, Bruce Pearl had said in regard to the 3-point shots, we can't let our misses lead to more misses. Well, it works the other way. Your makes lead to more makes, and I think that's what we've seen here tonight. Foul's going to be called on Smith, and that's number 2 on Tyler Smith. Volunteers again spring that full court trapping pressure on them. They finally break it to Alston. Alston with some numbers gets it to Coleman. Coleman shot blocked. Foul's going to be called on Kenny Hall.
Good job by North Carolina.
32-11 after the free throws by the Aggies. And they try to run a press too. And this is what Eves wanted to do. He wanted to get out there. He wanted to be able to press the Volunteers as well. And Bruce Pearl was looking forward to that opportunity. Blocking foul is called on Coleman.
The Aggies division titles, an SEC title, and in a division with Kentucky and Florida. Florida, who won 2 national titles during that stretch. Tennessee able to win the SEC East one of those years. Just amazing what Coach Pearl has done here at Tennessee in those 4+ seasons.
Absolutely. In his 4+ seasons, the Tennessee program has done something that had never been accomplished in SEC history. 4 straight years they finished better than Kentucky in the standings.
Pretty amazing from both standpoints.
Yeah.
That Kentucky had not finished
Exactly.
behind anybody.
Right.
It's incredible. But for Tennessee, when Coach Pearl came in, the program was really on an ebb, struggling, not drawing very well here, not very much excitement about the Vols program, and with less talent than they had the year before. Scooter McFadden had gone on, Brandon Crump had moved on. Tennessee and Bruce Pearl behind Chris Lofton and very good guard play. The Vols have been very good over these last few seasons.
Alston now has 8 points. A&T scored 7 in a row. Mays kicks over to Hobson. Tyler Smith dishing, shot blocked. Mays challenged Coleman, and the ball ends up back in the hands of Hall. Prince, as things get physical, and North Carolina A&T pushes the ball up the floor again. Joshua. And Tyler Smith the rebound. 3 rebounds for him.
A&T runs that fast break looking for the 3. Tennessee runs their fast break looking for a slam, and Kenny Hall banging it home.
21-point lead again for the Vols. 8th Volunteer to score in this ball game as Joshua gets his points.
You can see his scoring ability. Dwayne Joshua, the Aggies' leading scorer, acrobatic with that lead.
Hall spin move, and foul's going to be called on the Aggies. 7 minutes and 20 seconds to play here in the first half. Kenny Hall gets in on the scoring with an emphatic slam as the Vols lead by 19. He played at the University of Louisville. He was on the 1980 national championship team. He has no misconception about the athletic abilities of the two teams, but he does want his team to come out and compete hard.
And they are after the
26. It's at 21 right now as you take a look at your stat track. Another steal for the Volunteers, and Williams off the glass. J.P. Prince got that steal. That's the first 2 points for Williams. Another steal. Mays goes right at the hoop. Came up short that time. Alston fakes the pass, and a charging foul called on Alston. Chisholm got position, and that's going to be number 3 on him. So we'll see how long he sticks with Alston, and it won't be long as Hill comes to the scorer's table.
Smart move by Wayne Chisholm. He diagnosed what Alston wanted to do in that situation. A guy who's a big-time scorer in the open court. Chisholm understood that he's going to try to score, able to slide over and draw that charge.
Alston, their leading scorer with 8, probably on the bench for the rest of the half. Inside they go, Williams. Chisholm was cutting to the lane. They tried to hand it off to him, and a foul was called on the shot by Prince. Foul's going to be called on Witter, and that's going to be number 2 on him.
J.P.
And that's the second.
J.P. Prince just not very comfortable shooting the basketball away from the basket. The foul line from three-point range, only a 25% three-point shooter, 62% from the line, so it hadn't been that bad, but still just not very comfortable from the line.
And traveling call on Coleman, and that is the 19th turnover by the Aggies. You're right. In today's shoot-around, they have the free throw game at the end of the shoot-around where they split into teams, and J.P. Prince was trying to hide because he didn't want to take the free throws.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't, and he said, I'm not shooting free throws good right now. And he's right.
You hate to see that from a senior, a guy that's a leader on your club.
Scotty Hobson nearly gave up on that ball, but it goes out of bounds. CSS-sports.com is packed with everything you need to know for basketball.
Tennessee getting back into control of this game with their aggressive defense, forcing a few turnovers. The turnovers seem to come in bunches.
McBee, with 5 seconds on the shot clock, gives it up to Chisholm, and he hits the 3. And the lead is back out to 26 again. First points for Chisholm in this ball game. 6 3-pointers for the Volunteers, matches their total from the last 2 games combined. And Chisholm was feeling it maybe a little bit too much because he's tried them back-to-back. Chisholm, and nice play by Hill, who used his body to bounce off of Chisholm and get the layup.
Yeah, the little guy, allegedly 5'8", bangs off the big fella. He actually jumped into him all the way underneath the basket, knowing that he would ricochet back out away from the basket and be able to get that shot off. Slick move by Mark Hill.
Offensive foul is called on Brian Williams, who lowered his shoulder on his move to the basket. 9th team foul. And the Aggies bring the ball up the floor. 8 of their 11 games have been on the road.
Their 7th in a row here. Coleman
sticks with it, then lost it when he put it on the floor. Ahead it goes to Prince, and Prince jams it.
We've seen that several times this evening. J.P. Prince getting out into the open court.
14 steals for the Volunteers. Wow. Exceeding by 5 their per game average here in the first 15 minutes of this game.
I think I had a brain cramp earlier trying to do the math. Didn't they have 10 turnovers in the first 5 minutes?
They were on an
80. They were on an 80 turnover pace. They've slowed down a little bit there. As you see J.P. Prince slamming that one home. Tennessee so effective with their pressure defensive package.
All this math is confusing me. Stop it, Barry. Coleman on the miss. Junior out of Louisville, Kentucky. We mentioned Jerry Eves and his connect
anniversary of the University of Louisville winning that national championship. Coach Crum in 1980.
Harold Griffith, Rodney, and Scooter McRae says he keeps in touch with them all. McBee launches another 3. Rebound went right into the hands of Williams on a tap by Prince, and he couldn't hold on to it.
McBee finally missed one. Just a little bit too strong with that one. We'll see if the confidence stays high for Skylar McBee. A&T actually winning the rebounding battle.
They've had a lot more misses.
Well, they're getting the defensive rebounding opportunities because they're turning it over on their end.
Exactly. Woolridge. Yeah, they went a long time where they, had about twice as many turnovers as shots. Joshua throws it up there wildly. Mays pushes it down the floor. Nice dribble. Mays takes it all the way coast to coast. A new largest lead now for the Volunteers as they lead by 29.
Mark Hill didn't put up very much resistance against Bobby Mays driving to the basket there. Jerry Eves frustrated with his club's effort to this point.
11 different balls have scored here in the first 16 minutes of this game.
Everyone who's played. Here's Bobby Mays driving it at a smaller player, and you see the Matador defense there by Mark Hill. Mays able to get all the way to the basket. That is just too easy. The Aggies have to compete harder than that. This obviously they're very unlikely to win this game, down 29 already here, but you want to give the effort.
In fact, the Vols have scored 31 points off 22 turnovers here in the first 17 minutes of this ball game. Be sure to check out Talkin' Hoops on CSS starting Friday, January 15th at 9 Eastern. An exciting in-depth look at college basketball with top-notch experts. Our host, Bob Neal, ESPN.com's Mark Schleybaugh, former Georgia Techer. Home court advantage here tonight. 29-point lead.
Getting the Christmas festivities underway, unwrapping the North Carolina A&T Aggies.
And you're thinking, well, yes, the Aggies will go home for Christmas, but they'll be back out on the road again for their next game when they play at Tulane. And even their first conference game, or next conference game, I should say, will be on the road at FAMU.
They do get a homer. They played January 5th, Carson Newman, 8 straight on the road, and then they get that home game final.
They'll need directions to their own gym. Forgotten where it is. Man left open, and Coleman makes the Volunteers pay with a big jam. Porter puts his hand in there, and he gets the layup. Nope, missed the layup, but did get fouled. And 3 minutes and 14 seconds until halftime. The Tennessee Volunteers well on their way to their 9th win of the season, and in doing so, rebounding from their worst loss of the year on Saturday at Southern Cal. Bruce Pearl's team snapping back from a 22-point loss and leading North Carolina A&T by 27 here at home. And stick around, coming up at halftime, one of the greatest Tennessee Volunteers of all time, Chris Lofton, going to join us. They had a big ceremony here today on campus, and we'll tell you about that. Number 3 all-time three-point shooter in NCAA history.
And Chris Lofton, one of my all-time favorites among SEC players, just a mighty fine young man playing overseas here these last couple of years. And doing very well in that new phase of his life as well.
Porter missed both of the free throws. Woolridge to a cutting J.P. Prince. And got the bounce. 9 points for Prince.
J.P. Prince very aggressive going to the basket when he's had those opportunities tonight.
Coleman put it on the floor and let the defense fly by him. 7 points for Coleman.
Good pass from Porter to Thomas Coleman for the easy slam.
Melvin Goins out of San Diego, California, first year in the program. They're signing out of Mount San Jacinto, California Community College. Woolridge hits the 3, 7 3-pointers for the Vols. It's a 29-point lead again.
And although Woolridge has only hit 3 3-pointers on the season, 3 for 10 coming into this game, he has a couple of them tonight.
Coleman takes the 3-pointer. That's his first 3-point attempt of the season. Woolridge, rebound Williams. Williams goes up strong, left it short, stays with it, missed again. Finally, the Aggies come out of there. Joshua, and let's see, blocking. Yeah, they're going to call a blocking foul. And Prince, second on him. Like we said, coming up at halftime, UT great Chris Lofton going to join us here courtside to bring us up to date on what he's doing these days. We'll check around the SEC. Kentucky got another win today over Long Beach State, and first half highlights and stats. 4 points, missed that free throw. Tatum to McBee, had to wait on it. Point blank range, Hall couldn't put it down. Goings had a man open, didn't see Tatum, now he does, and Tatum converts.
Nice pass by Melvin Goings, keeping that one high. Cameron Tatum able to go up and get it. Nice finish.
16 assists for the Volunteers in this ball game. They're #1 in the conference. That's how many they get per game. They got it here in the first half. Another steal for the Volunteers. Their season high is 17. Goings to Hall.
Too easy right now for Tennessee. Getting these steals, pushing it down the court, very easy baskets. Aggies have to do a better job hustling back. First, they have to do a better job taking care of the basket, not giving up those turnovers, the steals that the Vols are turning into easy baskets.
32-point lead. Jerry Eves thought the Miami situation was bad when they were down 22 last night. It's even worse here in Tennessee tonight. Porter with the basket. Shot clock off. And Goings walks it up the floor. Looks like they want to just play for the last shot. On the clock, and he moves into his offense. To a cutting backdoor Tatum. Pass intercepted. Joshua takes it to the hole and gets the lead up at the buzzer. And so the half ends on a positive note for the Aggies, but not much else went well for them in the first 20 minutes. Tennessee forced 23 turnovers, scored 33 points off those turnovers. 11 players have already scored, and the Volunteers lead it 55-27 as they walk off to the locker room. Vols 20 minutes away from win number 9 and a Merry Christmas. Back to talk to Chris Lofton when we return. 5:27, Matt Stewart joined by Barry Booker, and what an impressive half by the Volunteers. A big concern for Bruce Pearl whether his team would respond with energy and intensity tonight, and I think they answered the question for it.
16 steals, forced 23 turnovers, a very strong response by the Tennessee Vols tonight against North Carolina A&T, who has been outmanned so far in this game.
Let's take a look at our SEC news and notes, and we start with the Kentucky Wildcats, who on Monday took position. It's halftime here in Knoxville, Tennessee, where the Vols lead the Aggies 55-27. Leading North Carolina A&T 55-27. Tune in Mondays at 10:30 Eastern for the ride. Welcome back. Halftime here at Tennessee. The number 14 Volunteers, a 55-27 lead on North Carolina A&T. About 3 hours ago, the dedication of the Chris Lofton Recruiting Lounge in the Pratt Pavilion as the 2007 SEC Player of the Year, the number 3 all-time three-point shooter in NCAA history, was honored with his own recruiting lounge here at his alma mater. And now joining us courtside is Chris Lofton. And Chris, thanks a lot for being with us, and congratulations. Just kind of tell us how this all came about and what's it feel like to, at such a young age, have this kind of honor.
It's a great honor. You know, I was telling the people who donated to the school in my honor, you know, it's a great honor for me. It's just you know, the things that I went through, and just, you know, not being recruited out of high school, just that they have something named after me. It's a blessing, actually.
Has it sunk in for you to be among the likes of Bernard King, Allen Houston, Ernie Grunfeld, those type players? You are on that level with what you accomplished in your college career here.
You know, I don't see myself as on that level because, you know, those guys are great basketball players. You know, I remember seeing them when I was younger and seeing highlights. So, you know, it's an honor to be mentioned with those, but I don't think I would put myself in that category yet.
You hit an incredible 431 three-pointers in your career. Is it tough for you to watch this Volunteers team struggle from behind the three-point line this season, even though not tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they playing harder tonight. You know, I love the intensity, to diving on the ball for diving on the floor for loose balls. You know, I didn't see that last weekend against USC, and, you know, I'm happy for them. They're playing hard today.
Now, give us a quick health update. We all heard about the cancer that you fought during your senior season, 2008. Tell us about where that stands now.
I'm actually 100% healthy now. You know, I go to the doctor every summer to get checkups, and, you know, I'm cancer-free.
All right.
And how about the career update? Tell everybody what you're doing.
Well, I just got back from Spain, and I'm actually in the process of going to another team. You know, I don't know exactly where yet, but, you know, I should know after Christmas sometime.
All right. Well, Chris, thanks a lot for being with us. And, again, congratulations on the honor today.
Thanks for having me.
Chris Lofton, one of the all-time greats in Tennessee basketball history, joining us here at halftime as his Volunteers have a big 28-point lead.
The SEC,
Forced by great Tennessee defense. They had 16 steals in the first 20 minutes.
16 steals, forced 23 turnovers, and the Vols converted those turnovers into points. 32 points off turnovers, actually 33 points off turnovers for the Vols. J.P. Prince, the beneficiary on many of those situations. We have Wooldridge driving it down. Kenny Hall, the easy finish, as Tennessee, with their quickness defensively, able to get rolling offensively.
Alston leading the way for the Aggies with his 8 points, but you see too many turnovers to overcome. 18 rebounds for the Aggies in that first half as well. Skylar McBee, 10 off the bench. Woolridge, 9 off the bench. 38 bench points for the Volunteers as 11 different players have already scored in this game, and 33 points off of turnovers.
The hot three-point shooting from Tennessee. McBee off the bench, able to hit 3 three-point shots. Ronaldo Wooldridge knocked in a couple of three-point shots to account for the 5 three-point field goals for the Vols in the first half.
Every coach in America playing the day before Christmas or the night before Christmas want to get that win so they can enjoy their holidays. The teams that get them enjoy their holidays a little bit more than the teams that don't. And the Volunteers start on offense, and they won't play again until a week from tomorrow. Yeah, when they play Memphis on the 31st. Actually, a lot longer than a week. So the 31st they're going to play Memphis. That'll be their next game.
Yeah, they got some tough ones coming up. Memphis on New Year's Eve, and got Kansas on the 10th of January, a UNC Charlotte club that's pretty solid, too, on January 6th.
Well, we talked about Tavares Alston off the top of the show, and he's doing his part. He's got 11 points now, and he missed the last 6 minutes of the first half with foul trouble. He's got 3 fouls. Young man out of Smith High School in Greensboro, Brian Williams, missed the bunny. Tried to stay with it, missed it again. He's had some tough luck underneath the basket in this ballgame.
Yeah, Brian Williams has had several opportunities around the basket, not converting on very many of those.
The good news is that increases your offensive rebounding total. So one stat goes up while the other goes down, the shooting percentage. The banker by Coleman. 9 points for him.
So jump hook by Thomas Coleman over Brian Williams, big fella.
Charged it into him.
A little. But Tyler Smith got to be more under control than that.
Yeah, you're right. Getting up in the air like that just leaves yourself open to have the foul called on.
Or for the turnover, leaving your feet, not knowing where you're going to pass the basketball.
Robert Johnson looked like he might have shuffled his feet and got away with it. And guarded closely by Dayton. Alston gets in the land of the Giants and loses the basketball. They come up with it as Simpson snags it off the floor, and a timeout was called by Jerry Eves. Back to live action. Bruce Pearl out of the timeout has his team set on defense, and the Aggies have only 8 seconds on their shot clock when they put the ball in play in front of their bench.
Tennessee has their center guarding the guard, trying to pass the ball in bounds, trying to make that pass very difficult.
Johnson, Alston, they're down to 4 on the shot clock. Do they recognize that? They do. Alston barely hit the iron, and Williams got the rebound. Tatum rimmed out. Johnson clears the rebound to Alston. Johnson gets it back. Johnson, odd looking shot, but he buries the three nonetheless. Going to count as a 2.
Robert Johnson, a good three-point shooter, very comfortable out away from the basket, although had his toe on the line there. A 35% three-point shooter. And as a center, he's taken quite a few threes.
Goings missed the shot. Tyler Smith got the rebound and drew the contact, and he'll go to the line. Coleman will be whistled for the foul. At the top of the show, averaged 17 a year ago. His assist to turnover ratio is in the pass, but they need him to score.
They absolutely need him to score. This ball club, against strong competition, they have really struggled to score. When they haven't been able to force a bunch of turnovers, get a lot of steals, they have had a tough time scoring. Tyler Smith, 17 a game. You know he can score, just not quite as aggressive as he's been in the past, looking for his opportunities to score.
Aggies turned it over and then got it right back, and a foul is going to be called on Brian Williams.
Foul shot. Jerry Eves using that maneuver and getting a steal.
And they do get the steal. Robert Johnson off glass. And this is what Eves was talking about. He wanted to be able to press too, knowing that they were a long shot to win the ball game. Certainly not conceding that by any means. Their idea was to come out with the attitude they were going to win the ball game tonight. Basket by Hobson. He's got 6 points.
This game gives North Carolina A&T an opportunity to play their style of play, press against the team, and be pressed. Tennessee has applied the heat to North Carolina A&T, and the Aggies have not responded very well to that pressure from Tennessee.
Tatum was whistled for his 3rd foul.
Responding, and Doug Sermons responding to that response.
Tyler Smith with the free throw, and he now has 9 points. He had 12 20-point games a year ago, and he's not had any this season. In fact, he's had 3 single-digit games this year, one more than he had all of last season.
Yeah, just not as aggressive at the offensive end of the court, and also the loose balls, those hustle plays that Tyler Smith is known for over his career. He hadn't been making those.
There's been plenty of speculation about this as to whether, people have, been in his ear perhaps saying, look, at the next level, you got to be a point guard. You got to be a playmaker. They don't want you to score at the next level. They want you to play, make, and dish the pass, and maybe trying to do things that he thinks are going to impress NBA scouts.
Well, and it's hard to know. There are no doubt a lot of things going on inside Tyler Smith's head as a senior, looking forward to, or maybe not looking so forward to, the next phase of his life, leaving campus and moving on in life. That's a lot for a senior to deal with.
I tell you what, if they want to see playmaking, that was a beautiful pass by Tyler Smith right there to get the jam.
Yes, it was. Here he goes again.
Look at that one.
Sure.
Hobson, a little Harlem Globetrotter action going on right now. And Simpson knocks down the 2. All thrown up for grabs, and Alston comes up with it. Johnson in the corner. Hobson snags the rebound for the Volunteers.
Tennessee relaxing a little bit against this A&T pressure.
Joshua nearly came up with the steal. Hobson airballed it. And Johnson gets the rebound for the Aggies, and yes, they want to run. And the feed, Joshua could not hold on to it. That was a great pass by Alston. And maybe Joshua just wasn't ready for it. 24th turnover in the ball game.
Tyler Smith showing his fancy passing skills. Scotty Hobson for the slam, and the ball leads by 24.
Man, it's been a jingle bells kind of night for Tennessee. 24-point lead on North Carolina A&T with 15.5 minutes to play, and the goal being get that win so you can really enjoy Christmas and Bruce Pearl had said, if we come out here with thinking that anything less than our A game will be enough, then we'll be in trouble. But that has not been the case here tonight as the Volunteers jumped out to a 22-0 lead in this ball game, and it has never been close. Kenny Hall with another jam.
Nice pass again by J.P. Prince, having a solid floor game tonight for the Vols.
66-40. The largest lead has been 32. Tennessee 25 made field goals and 20 assists on that. Inside, Coleman draws the foul, and he'll get to the line. 168 set the record with his 3 against Northwestern. Mays working against the pressure, gets it to McBee, spot up 3. He hit his first 3 in this ball game, has not hit another since. Feed to Joshua, got fouled from behind by Mays.
It's a very engaging guy, Jerry Eves, and doing a nice job at North Carolina A&T. A&T, a historically black college, and Coach Eves doing a nice job taking advantage of the draw that has for some of the recruits that he has, and it's in Greensboro as well, a nice town. So,
basketball.
I mentioned also Coach Eves able to dip into Kentucky. They find players in that part of the world as well with his Louisville connections.
Inside Simpson, shot blocked by Hall.
Kenny Hall, a very good shot blocker for the Vols, a young freshman.
Woolridge. Joshua splits the defense, goes to the hole. Shot blocked by Prince from behind. McBee draws contact, and McBee got fouled on the play. Watching SEC basketball.
With Jerry Eves coaching the North Carolina A&T Aggies. Tennessee unwrapping A&T
with his 6th assist in the ball game.
JP very aggressive this evening, having a strong game for Tennessee.
Alston raised the front iron, and Hall gets the rebound, or Mays did, one or the other. Bobby Mays goes around the defense, dishes it to Hall, and Hall, a reverse attempt, got fouled on the play. Kenny Hall, the freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, and Redan High School, getting a lot of action here tonight. Witter was called for the foul. That's his 3rd.
Like Hall had an opportunity there to go up with the left hand, finish strong, and would have had a chance for a 3-point play had he done that. But young guy, not comfortable using that left hand, tried to go to the right underneath the rim and couldn't get it home.
Career high 11 points for Kenny Hall tonight. Had been averaging only 1.6 points.
Big guys on this Tennessee club with Chisholm and Brian Williams, and also Tyler Smith playing a lot at the 4. Tough for Kenny Hall to get some time on the court.
He goes to the bench after scoring the last 6 points for the Volunteers.
And getting congratulations from his teammates. They respect the work that he has done in practice, and excited to see him get the reward with some solid play tonight.
Joshua hits the 3-pointer, and he has 11. There's going to be openings on this Tennessee team next year. We've got some seniors graduating from the program. Williams missed the dunk, and Bruce Pearl's already fashioning another great recruiting class. Tobias Harris, of course, at the top of that list. A young man who announced this week he is one of the 10 finalists for the Naismith High School Player of the Year award.
Tennessee coaching staff very excited about Harris, 6'8" player, can score around the basket, a very good passer as well.
Rated the #1 power forward in the nation by many. Williams got fouled going up, and then another player watching practice here today, a potential transfer from Marquette, Jerome Mayman, watched practice yesterday and was at the shoot-around again today. He played 9 games his freshman season at Marquette and has decided to transfer, and Tennessee's among the schools he's placing an official visit to. Tatum stepped out of bounds, getting the rebound.
8 at halftime, lead down to 25 now, so
another steal.
Playing a little bit better, but the turnovers continue.
McBee gets the layup. 17 steals for the Volunteers. They are within shot of the singles game record, which is 22 set against American Puerto Rico. in 1999. 25 turnovers now, 3 in this half.
Yeah, that's better. Only the first steal for the Vols just moments ago. North Carolina A&T doing a bit better, taking care of the basketball here in the second half.
So the timeout called after Mays got caught in a trap. Tune in this winter for college basketball on CSS. All your favorite teams from the SEC, ACC, Sun Belt. Bruce Pearl already, Tobias Harris out of Dix Hills, New York. They've also signed Trey Golden and George McRae.
Tennessee bringing players in, a national approach to recruiting by Coach Pearl. He has brought this Tennessee program to the top 20 status and trying to maintain that, bring in players successfully from all across the country.
Well, it's a great environment when you bring the kids in. You got a packed house. Of course, the Volunteers top 5 in the nation in attendance last season. 17,000 plus here on Christmas Eve. I mean, that's impressive. You know, you go to other venues, and I've been to 2 of them in the last 3 days that have near this kind of crowd in the Southeastern Conference. Witter called for his 4th foul.
Tennessee has had a strong basketball following. They built this building too large, of course, and opened in '87 for the '88 season, and at over 24,000 capacity. They brought that capacity down a little bit with the renovations that they've done here. But Bruce Pearl coming on board has generated increased excitement about Tennessee basketball, and given the fans who really do care a lot about basketball, he's given them a lot to cheer about.
McBee gets the rebound. That was his first offensive rebound of the season. Everything going right for the Volunteers today. They might like fill up every possible statistical situation here in this ball game tonight, as they have a 74-46 lead with 11 minutes and 49 seconds to play. Now in his 5th season, the head coach since 2005, and here's the timeline. First season, 22-8, picked 5th in the East, and they won it. Reached the Sweet 16 in year number 1, year number 2. That was year number 3, the 31-5 record. Year number 4 last year, 21-13. A little bit of a disappointment as they went out in the first round in this season, 8-2. And Barry Booker, your thoughts on just how good is this Tennessee team, and how far can they go in reaching a 5th consecutive NCAA tournament?
Well, they are certainly good enough to make the NCAA tournament, no question about that. But I question their ability to knock down three-point shots. They need to keep Skylar McBee going, and I think he will be a critical guy for this club. There's no one else on this team that, to me, it looks like a solid shooter. And I think he's going to see his minutes and his role increase as the Vols get playing tougher competition.
The Granger Gunner out of Granger High School, Rutledge, Tennessee. And you gotta, you know, when we started the show talking about Tyler Smith and, you know, how his assists are up and turnovers are down, the scoring is down. I gotta believe, and there's the lob pass inside, and Tatum missed, and then the tip in by Lynch. You gotta believe that for Tennessee to make a serious, legitimate run deep into the NCAA tournament, Tyler Smith can't be averaging 17 or 11 points per game.
Yeah, your seniors have to have their best year if your team is going to have the kind of year that you hope for. And Tyler Smith has proven to be an all-SEC caliber player, an SEC Player of the Year type player, and he is not playing at that level so far this year. They need to have Wayne Chisholm get healthy and really play well, have a strong senior season. You got Bobby Mays, another senior. You know, you got 4 guys in that starting lineup. J.P. Prince not in the starting lineup now, but need to really have all those guys rolling this year. Tennessee's going to have a great season.
You mentioned Wayne Chisholm, who has not played a whole lot tonight, and his production down 2 points, 2 rebounds per game from a year ago. The first marquee recruit by Bruce Pearl, and he has been hobbled by that pelvis injury. Only played 8 minutes tonight. They haven't needed him, and this is a great opportunity with the holiday break coming up for him to.
It's UNC Charlotte. Kansas, #1 team in all the land, coming to this building. That one should be a ton of fun on Sunday January 10th.
Yeah, in fact, the next game on CSS will be January 6th. You and I will be here for that ball game against Charlotte, the 49ers. And then their SEC opener comes up on January 14th against the Auburn Tigers. Down to 8 on the shot clock. Coleman gives it up to Hill, and Hill off back iron, and the rebound controlled by Tatum and the Volunteers. Alley-oop to Tyler Smith, and that's something they really worked on in practice today in their shoot-around. Bruce Pearl said, we're going to lob the ball up to the basket. We're not going to wait for you to be there. You've got to go and get it, and that's a good example of what they were working on in practice today.
Tennessee very effective in transition play. Cam Tatum, a nice pass.
Joshua knocked down that three-pointer, and he's got 15 points to lead all scorers in this ballgame. And he is the top scorer on this team for the Aggies. Tatum off back iron. And after some makes for the Volunteers in the first half, they kind of slipped back into those misses again from behind the three-point line. Tyler Smith and a big rebound, one-handed rebound. He's got 5 of those.
A 19-point game right now. Tennessee has been in complete control throughout this game. North Carolina A&T, a very streaky ball club. If they can get on a roll here, knock down a couple of three-point shots, they can fight their way back into this game.
Williams, the backside offensive rebound, and the put-in by Tatum. 7 points for Tatum. Williams just has not had any kind of luck with his shot up close in this ball game. 2 of 7, and most of his shots have been from 4 feet or less.
Yeah, you can see the frustration on his face as he was heading back up the court.
Coleman with a big jam for the Aggies. He's got 12. McBee slows it up, gives it back to Tyler Smith. Smith driving, and his pass deflected away, down on the deck. He's on top of the ball, and he's sitting on the ball.
Jump the game by knocking home a couple of three-point shots.
And that was one of the things that Bruce Pearl talked about. You know, he wanted his team to be mature enough not to panic if they got on a roll and knocked down 3 at that. 28 turnovers now for the Aggies. Back to Tyler Smith. Draws the foul and did not get the basket. So 2 shots coming up for Tyler Smith.
Tyler Smith caught that ball in the low, and he's going up right away. He probably makes that little 8-footer. I think it just does not have that scorer's mentality that I'm gonna get to when I get it in the lane.
Tyler Smith gets the free throw in after shoot around, and then he was the first guy out here for pregame warm-ups, working on his three-point shot at various locations around the arc. And you know, he's taken only 3 three-point shots this season, and he's missed all 3 of them after being 42 for 133 in his first 2 seasons.
Yeah, and he's working on technique things. He's getting a little bit of drag with his left hand on the ball, getting some side spin. There's a lot of things that he's working on, and those things are tough to fix in the middle of the season when you start thinking about technique and how you're releasing the basketball. It's hard to basically rebuild his jump shot and regain the confidence in it.
But a 32% three-point shooter in his career at Tennessee prior to this season. He comes up with the steal off the deflection by Coleman, got fouled by Coleman, and had the ball roll off the rim. But he'll be at the line for 2 more shots. You know, a 32% career three-point shooter. Why scrap the three-pointer?
Well, it's the confidence. You mentioned he's only taken 3 on the season.
Doesn't he have to hit the three-pointer for his game?
Well, that's if he's thinking about the NBA, you would think he'd be out there taking a lot of three-point shots, but the 3 attempts demonstrates that he doesn't have the confidence. He obviously has the green light from Coach Pearl to do whatever he's comfortable doing, but only 3 three-point attempts on the season. He's not confident in his jump shot so far this season, and he's trying to rebuild it, trying to regain that confidence.
He does have 14 points in this ball game here tonight. Interesting comments from him in the Knoxville paper when he said, you know, the steal by Hall, alley-oop, and the ball got batted out of bounds as the Volunteers got a little bit maybe too fancy on that exchange. The comments in the Knoxville paper, he said, when we get to Memphis and Kansas, I'll step it up. But as long as my teammates are knocking down their shots, I'll just keep passing the ball.
Well, your teammates hadn't been knocking down all that many shots.
Well, especially, tonight it has not been an issue, but it was at Southern Cal, and it was against Wyoming, even though they got the win against the Cowboys here last week in Knoxville, and traveling call on Kenny Hall.
Tennessee has quickly extended to a 32-point edge, regained complete control of this ball game once again.
Long outlet to Alston. Alston shot challenged and blocked by Hobson. Alston really didn't have much of a chance on that break. Hobson dishing to Hall, and Hall does what he does best, and that's send it home. 14 for him. Has long past his career high as Johnson hits the three-pointer for the Aggies. Hobson dishes on the baseline. Nice feed from Prince, and then the basket by Hobson. Prince on a nice feed to Tyler Smith. He didn't get the basket, but off the miss, Hobson does. And with 7:26 to play in this ball game, Tennessee has a whopping 33-point lead.
Hey,
14th ranked Tennessee with a 33-point lead on North Carolina A&T. The Aggies with a tough time of things this evening in their 7th consecutive road game, and facing a withering Tennessee defense. And over the last 5 games, you see the turnovers that they had forced, a whopping 29 against Wyoming, and they have topped that number here tonight with 31 and still counting. Their 20 steals, the most since 22 against Western Kentucky several years ago, 22 against American Puerto Rico, and 20 against Western Kentucky. And the breakdown goes Smith with 4, Prince with 4, Mays with 3, and McBee with 3.
Tennessee, during the Bruce Pearl era, 35 turnovers, the most they forced in a game.
And that was earlier this season, so they've got a great opportunity to erase that number and put a new name by that statistic. Alston. Rebound was grabbed on the play by Adrian Powell. Prince was called for the foul. Tyler Smith snags another rebound. 6 rebounds to go along with 14 points tonight. So he's working on perhaps a double-double. Prince with 10 points, 4 Volunteers now in double figures here tonight, as they seem destined to eclipse the 100-point mark this evening. Coleman to the basket. And, Coleman's a ball player that Jerry Eaves is really excited about and believes that he could go on to become a professional. Needs some grooming overseas, he thinks, but really could maybe come back. Kind of compared him to perhaps a guy like P.J. Brown, who he coached with when Eaves was in the assistant in the NBA. Tyler Smith. 16 points for Tyler Smith.
Nice aggressive move by Tyler Smith, not looking to pass off that trip to the basket. Able to get all the way to the hole and finish.
That ball got booted into the seats like Pele or something. That thing went a long way.
Is that Tyler Smith on the kick there?
Goes to the bench perhaps for the rest of the night. With 16 points. Alston behind the arc. They just keep firing those 3-point shots. They don't stop. Mays ahead. Prince couldn't hold it, but Hall finishes off. 16 points for Kenny Hall.
Really good game for Kenny Hall tonight. No doubt a career high for him. Playing exceptionally well for Hall off the bench.
Yeah, 16 points for a young man who averages less than 2 a game. Powell hits the 3. So Powell, who had scored only 2 points all season, just topped that total with the 3-pointer. See the leading scorers for the Volunteers. Smith and Hall with 16 apiece, and McBee with 12. McBee came out and hit his first 3-pointers in this ball game and kind of got the balls on a roll from behind the arc. Joshua with the steal. gets it back. Joshua been playing with gauze in his nose for most of the night. Took an early hit. Johnson, three-pointer. 9 3-pointers knocked down. 13 points for Johnson. 9 3-pointers for the Aggies, which is their per-game number.
Aggies going on a little roll with their three-point shooting, getting the steal. There's Thomas.
Coleman, and then the foul is called on May. But tune in on December 30th. I'm sure we'll have more information on that.
Thank you, Professor Stewart.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I was in Gainesville last night for South Alabama stunner over the Florida Gators. And when I mentioned that to Bruce Pearl, he was a little uneasy about the fact that, and I had done Sam Houston State's victory over Auburn on Sunday, so a little uneasy that I might be perhaps carrying a little bad luck with me for the SEC teams, but that has not been the case for the Volunteers tonight.
Dwayne Joshua with a slick move, crossing over, driving it all the way to the basket.
They're already 1-0 in their conference, beating Norfolk State earlier this month. And they were down 10 in that ball game in the second half and came back and won that one. That was a big win for them to get things started and going in the right direction.
A road game, of course.
And Norfolk State had 2 guys go for their career highs. They also have the preseason player of the year in the MEAC playing for them, and a big win. And, you know, and when we spent a good deal of time with Jerry Eaves at their shoot-around today, and almost all of his comments in regard to this game were prefaced by when we're playing at our level. You know, this will be good for us. And so he knew that the cards were stacked against him here tonight. But they hope this ball game and these ball games that they played on the road like this will pay dividends for them on down the road once they get into the heart of their conference schedule. Nice move by Alston, and he's got 13.
A&T, a nice little spurt here. Trim things down. 24 the margin now.
And another strip. Mays having a tough game. Josh Bone in the ball game for the first time for the Volunteers, so he's getting a chance to play a little basketball. A transfer out of Southern Illinois.
Coach Pearl wanting his club to pick it up right now. You've seen North Carolina A&T going a nice little burst here.
I thought the comments from Bruce Pearl in the Knoxville paper this week kind of interesting in regard to the loss at Southern Cal. Said it's really not about winning or losing. It's about the way you play the game, honoring the game. He said, you know, when I got here, I promised the fans that we would always play harder than our opponents. And it's not that we're not playing hard. We're just not playing Tennessee hard, as the Aggies on a 16-0 run right now.
16-2. Basket by Williams, but a nice
64 lead with 3 to play has never been in question with a 22-0 start in this ball game. And time now, Barry, to check out our Bass Pro Shops in the net play of the game. And this is a sequence of in the net plays of the game.
Tennessee has spent a lot of time above the rim, slamming the ball down through the net. Very impressive coming through with our Bass Pro Shops in the net plays of the game. Several balls. One
of our keys tonight, points in the paint, and the Volunteers certainly have done their job of filling the bill there with 56 points in the paint, 47% shooting tonight, 49% on the season. So they've been right on the money in that regard, as Bruce Pearl is about to pick up his 107th victory as the head coach of the Volunteers.
The Vols have spent a lot of time after the North Carolina A&T turnovers, getting in the transition play, finishing around the basket. They are very good with their size and their athleticism. They're strong when they get in the open court.
Going for the steal, Stephen Pearl with the follow. Coach's son gets 2.
Stephen Pearl getting only his 4th points of the season. Points number 3 and 4 on that play for Stephen Pearl.
Pearl and Bone, 2 of the deeper reserves out on the floor for the Volunteers right now, and Bone came up with the deflection. And last touch by the Aggies, so another turnover. 33. Well, things slowed down. We didn't get to the 80 turnovers that they were on pace for. But 33 is more than plenty. And Bone missed the shot. Powell, left-hander. And the rebound controlled by the Aggies. Johnson the miss. Woolridge has had a pretty good game.
These teams like getting up and down the court, shooting it quickly. These last couple of minutes would still be entertaining. They switch ends of the court rapidly. Entertaining if not effective.
Williams had his shot stuffed from behind. Played a lot. He has 7 points and 10 rebounds, but he's had to work really hard. He's had so many shots fall off the rim. Pass from really not even been that close. To the Aggies' credit, they've stayed within their game plan. They kept doing what they wanted to do. They didn't try to shorten the game or anything like that. They pressed and shot the three and ran their offense as fast as they could.
From this point forward, Tennessee will face no more opponents anything like this one.
Yeah.
It'll be very difficult matchups, conference play, very difficult non-conference opponents coming up with the balls. Competition level about to step up dramatically for Tennessee.
And then the SEC begins on January 14th against Auburn, and Williams missed that one. I told you. It's just been one of those kind of games for him. Bone gets the put in. First points for him. 13 different Vols have scored tonight. Porter got the basket. We're down to the final half minute. Crowd wants to see him get over 100. They do have to take a shot. Well, they don't have to. But the shot clock would run out. They can't run out the clock. Let's put it that way.
They will take a shot if they go pick and roll and get into their offense.
Pearl drives and ran over his man.
Maybe they won't take a shot.
They won't. So the Tennessee Volunteers, number 14 in the country in the coaches poll, will be 9-2 going into the Christmas holiday. North Carolina A&T will drop to 4-8 and will have lost their 7th non-conference road game in a row and 21 of their last 22. 99-78, the final score.
Solid performance by Tennessee. Skylar McBee strong off the bench. We'll see if he can continue his hot shooting as the competition level increases for Tennessee.
Tennessee, 99-78. They bounced back from that 22-point loss at Southern Cal. They win tonight by 21, and the game was not ever even as close as that, as the Volunteers jumped out to a 22-0 lead in this ball game and were never really threatened. 5 players in double figures. Smith and Hall led the way for the Vols with 16, and Tennessee scored 15 or 22 points on second chance points, forced 34 turnovers and 21 steals. And now for my partner Barry Booker and the entire crew, I'm Matt Stewart. Merry Christmas from Knoxville, where the Vols win by 21.